Welcome back to Muckles Read and Lead audio podcast. I am Aisha, and today we continue our deep dive into why nation fail with one of the most exciting sections yet, the turning points. This is where history took a sharp turn, where nations either embrace progress or resist it and fell behind. This is episode 4. In this episode, we will explore three crucial chapters that explain why some nations surged ahead while others stagnated. We will talk about how the Industrial Revolution created winners and losers, how Britain set the stage for global change, and why some nations fought tooth and nail to stop progress. So, buckle up as we unveil the mysteries of history's biggest economic and political shifts. Chapter 6, its name, Drifting Apart. How history pushed nations in different directions. Imagine two villages side by side. One embraces a new farming technique leading to surplus food and wealth, the other rejects it, fearing change and remains stagnant. Fast forward a century, and one has transformed into a bustling city while the other struggled to survive. This is exactly what happened to nations during the Industrial Revolution. Visualizing the change. Before the Industrial Revolution, most of the world operated in similar ways: agriculture based economies, traditional craft, and slow technological progress. Then something changed. The Industrial Revolution exploded in Britain, unleashing steam engines, mechanized factories, and mass production. Here's the twist: not all nations benefited from this revolution. Some adopted technology quickly, while others resist. Institutions play a huge role in this divergence. Now we talk about case study England versus Eastern Europe. Britain embraced innovations because its political system had shifted towards inclusivity, giving merchants and inventors more freedom. Eastern Europe, in contrast, remained dominated by feudal landlords who feared that industrializations would weaken their control. This was a moment when paths diverged. The nations that adopted to new technology surged ahead, while those that resisted fell into economic stagnation. And that brings us to our next chapter: how Britain took the lead. Chapter 7, its name, The Turning Point. Why did Britain industrialize first? Let's take a trip to the late 1600s. Britain was going through immense political change. The Glorious Revolution had shifted power from the monarchy to parliament. But why does that matter? Because it changed who made the economic rules. The power shift. In most of the world, kings and emperors controlled wealth and industries. But in Britain, the rising merchant class gained influence, pushing for laws that encourage trade, property rights, and innovation. The impact on industrialization. With stronger property rights, people felt safe to invest. With a stable political system, long term businesses could thrive. With fewer government imposed barriers, entrepreneurs and inventors flourish. This was the perfect storm for industrialization. While France was still struggling with monarchy led policies and Spain was stuck in an economic slump, Britain had created an ecosystem where ideas and capital flowed freely. We learn lesson from this. Economic revolution need political foundations. No matter how great an invention is, it won't succeed in a system that prevents people from using it. But what about the countries that actively fought against industrialization? That's what we will uncover in the next chapter when powerful elites choose control over progress. Chapter 8. Its name is not on our turf, barriers to development. Why did some nations actively resist the Industrial Revolution? If you had immense power and wealth, would you risk losing it just to modernize? That's the question elites in the Ottoman Empire, China, and other nations faced during the Industrial Revolution, and their answers. No, thank you. The Great Resistance, the Ottoman Empire had a vast, centralized government that thrived on controlling trade and taxation. Industrialization means factories and free market, which could weaken the Sultan's control. Instead of embracing change, Ottoman rulers shut down printing presses and limited technological import. In China case, in the 1400s, China was one of the world's most advanced civilization. But by the 1700s, the ruling Qing dynasty saw economic change as a threat to their social order. They restricted foreign trade, banned new technologies, and crushed attempts at industrialization. This was not just fear of technology, it was a calculated move to maintain power. Elites in these societies know that if the working class gained economic strength, they could demand political rights, and that was a risk they were not willing to take. The consequences, while the Britain, Germany, and the US were racing ahead, the Ottoman Empire and China were falling behind. By the time they realized their mistake, it was too late to catch up. So, what's the key takeaway here? Progress is not just about having the right technology, it's about having the right institutions that allow society to adapt and use it. History is not just a series of random events, it's a web of decisions, power struggles, and opportunities. The Industrial Revolution did not make every country rich, it rewarded those that had built the right foundation and punished those that resist change. Key lessons from today's episode. First is technology alone is not enough. It needs institutions that support growth. Second is political power shapes economic destiny. Nations that empower innovation thrive. Third is elites fear change, but resisting progress has long-term consequences. And that's where we wrap up today's episode. In our next installment, we will explore how different nations either adopt or suffer through these turning points. If you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe, share, and keep the conversation going. Together, let's unlock the secrets of why nations fail.